Olufisayo, thank you so much for accepting our invite to come and share your story. So basically, the first question that we'll be asking you is for you to tell us about your career journey so far, pre-MBA, during your MBA and post-MBA. How has it been for you?
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here and I'm honored to share my story with your community. My name is Olufisayo. I recently graduated from the MBA program from Arizona State University. Backstory or background, I studied Management Information System from National University, graduated in 2013. I worked for about 5 years with PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, as a tax consultant. And in the same time, I was also running my fashion business. And then in 2020, I started my MBA program, although I started remotely because it was in the heat of COVID and we didn't get business to travel abroad. So everyone from Nigeria that wasn't in the US before COVID started remotely. I did that August, September, October, November, and then in December, I traveled abroad to start my new life in the United States. And then 2 years after, I'm a graduate.
I think I'm interested in just curious, right? Is your fashion business still running or is just something that?
So right now, my fashion business is not operating in Nigeria at this time.
Don't understand. Okay, so moving on. I just need to go to the next question. At what point, because I know you've worked in PwC for 5 years, and if I'm thinking 5 years, you'll almost be at the assistant manager level, right?
Yes.
So why did you decide, or at what point did you decide to say that, oh, you know what, I'm not doing this hierarchy stuff today, I just want to go for MBA? Like, what was the convincing factor?
Okay, so right out of undergrad in 2013, I knew that I wanted to get an MBA. I'd read stories of people that I admired, right? And when reading through, I'll see that, oh, they got an MBA from this school. The MBA was really like a denominator. It was a factor in that I saw and I noticed among so many people that I read their stories. So I wrote it down in 2013, like, okay, I'm going to get an MBA. But I didn't put any year or date to it. I just said, okay, I just knew that I was going to get an MBA, right? And then started business, then started working. So I had a sister who also went for an MBA in 2017. Yeah, I think it was 2017. And she had always said, oh, maybe you should come and get your MBA. But I'm like, no, I'm very much focused on my business right now. I don't see myself leaving Nigeria. I love my work at PwC. I wasn't sure I wanted to make it a partner, but yeah, I still love what I was doing at the time. So I was not convinced. And the decision to take an MBA was from myself, right? Looking at the things that I intended to achieve in the future, looking at my life currently, and seeing that year was an ideal time to go for it, because I didn't think that with many things I wanted to do, I would have the time again to go back to school. So 2019, it just seemed like everything aligned, right? And I got speaking to people. I started hearing about the process. I started getting study materials, started studying, started applying, and then we are here. And then a couple of eureka moments in my personal life as well. Just trying to understand, what next, where next I'm headed in my journey of life. So that's kind of like all the different factors that geared up to me deciding that I wanted to get an MBA, or that 2020 was the year that I was going to get an MBA.
Okay. We're talking about the course, how stressful it was, the process, and the fact that you have to most likely like GMAT or GRE. When you're thinking about all these things, and when you were thinking about it, how were you able to pull yourself? What helped you? Did you have like a community of people that you're reading with? All these things.
I'm sure you're referring to like the cost of application and the cost of attendance, right? So the cost of application, I looked at it, GRE or GMAT, IELTS or TOEFL, and then a couple of study materials. I've done the calculation and I'm like, okay, this is not a lot. I can afford it. For cost of attendance, I wasn't looking to pay because I was applying for the MBA program with the aim of attending a school that would give me a fully funded scholarship. And this is because I'd seen several other people who got fully funded scholarships that they were even being paid, to go to school, like the graduate assistantship. So I wasn't looking to, the cost of attendance. It was rather the cost of preparation. And I'd done the math and I'd seen that I could afford it at the time. In terms of stress, I'm kind of used to that because, like I said, I was running a business and I was doing 9 to 5, which was not really 9 to 5, which was like 8 to 8, right? So I already had my emotional and physical muscles geared up for that. So it wasn't really a lot. But yes, while studying, I had a cousin who was also applying for the MBA program. So it was always good to circle back to find out what his progress was. We'll find places to study over the weekend. We'll track our progress. We actually had like an Excel sheet that would write the names of the schools and what we have done so far. Okay, so this school I've reached out to the ACCOM. Okay, this school they're giving me the application period. Yay! Okay, this school I've written their essay. This school I'm about to get interviews. This school I'm waiting back to hear from them for their decision. So things like that. So we really tracked our progress, and it was helpful to know that there's somebody that you could check on with. There's somebody that can keep you accountable to your goals and your plans. So I really advise anyone that is going on this journey to find somebody or a group of people that they have similar interests and similar energy as well. And this is kind of why I started an accountability group through my YouTube videos. So there was a video that I created on how I got briefly from the scholarships, and towards the end of that video, I just put a link for people who are interested in signing up for that. And it has been helpful to a couple of people because people have come back to tell me, I enjoyed being part of this. The people that I connected with here helped me to further my goals, my MBA plans, and my MBA goals. So yeah, it's very important for you to have people or somebody that you're going along the journey with.
Going into our third question, right? I'm just going to ask, what do you think about MBA and MSc?
Okay, so I think the decision to go on an MBA or take on the MSc program is a personal decision. I do not want to recommend anything for anyone because we're just on different things in life, right? And we're on different paths. But I can say my experience and what I think, right? So the MSc is a master's of a particular course. So you're doing your MSc in actuarial science, you're doing your MSc in psychology, MSc in accounting. You're going to study that course and everything that's related to that course for a period of 2 years or 1 year, depending on what the school's curriculum is like. For an MBA program, you're going to do a Master's of Business Administration. And so this entails so many other courses that are not essentially business inclined. So you have the option of doing statistics, you have the option of doing economics, you have the option of doing interpersonal communication and skills, you have the option of doing accounting. There's so many courses that you do while being in the MBA program. That's one. So MBA is very broad in terms of what you learn, and then the MSc is quite rigid. It's dedicated to a particular course of study. That's one. The second thing is the career prospects of getting in either of the programs. If you get an MSc, you most likely be looking for a job that is in that career field and in that career line, because that's what you have studied, right? But in an MBA program, you have a wider net, you have a wider option, right? You're able to choose from a variety of career options possible. If you want to go into private equity or big tech or management consulting or investment banking, and you don't necessarily have to have had prior experience in the field that you're looking to get a job. So I believe that that's the biggest advantage of getting an MBA over getting an MSc. But some people who already know that they want to, study a particular course, this is what they want to learn and they want to do, it's okay to, go after the MSc and just, go straight into it and be a thought leader in that field. But if you're looking for more diversity, you're looking for more options, you're looking for more opportunities, I think the MBA is more prepared to an MS. And also the network, the MBA gives you, a bigger network than what you get in an MSc program. And then finally, it's the compensation that you get. Although the MBA program is more expensive than MSc program, but in terms of like getting the pay is higher than what you typically get when you do a master's program.
I think it's just taking to the final question. Like, this is, do you have any regrets in your decision in taking an MBA? But with the way you are doing it, I doubt you have. And
I think the question is self-explanatory.
Exactly, that's what I was about to say. So, and the other part of the question is that what advice do you give to people that are planning to take their MBA, right, this year? Mm-hmm. One, and people that, and advice to people that to other young professionals. Yeah.
Okay, great, fantastic. I would advise you to, if you already know that you're going to get your MBA, you want to move to the United States or United Kingdom, where it is that you want to get your MBA, you know that you want to do your MBA in 2023. Now is the time for you to start graduating. So now that looking out for schools will suit what schools will suit the background that you previously had. You need to start identifying those schools and reaching out to people in those schools to connect with them to see how their application give them an edge, or to see what things they do. Many people may not be able to see categorically that, oh, this is what I do, but they will be able to see what patterns they have seen from other students, that probably made them selected. They will be able to tell you what things the school is big on that you can highlight in your application. I think that's a very big thing. It was around this time in 2019 that I was, trying to decide for myself if an MBA was what I wanted or not. And it kind of took me a long time to get into the process itself. And I ended up applying for schools majorly in round 3, round 2, and round 3. I'd advise anyone to go for round 1 first, right? It gives you more options, more opportunity for you to get the highest funding if you're looking to get a fully funded scholarship like me, right? So if you are targeting schools in the first round, round 1, many schools already, I've seen openings from schools like Warren, from Cornell. So it's a good time to start connecting with the admissions committee members of those schools, right, and start dropping your applications and speaking to them right now. And I believe that if you start early, you will not be in a rush. Before like November, you already know that in August you are moving to start your MBA, and you can begin to make plans ahead instead of just rushing like me. And I basically started all my applications in January of 2020 and got decisions in March and April. Not necessarily short, but I mean more people prefer more flexibility in how much time they have to prepare. Right, so I wish you all the best. I know that you can do it. If you're watching this, you definitely have an interest and you're serious about it. So start gathering all the resources and start speaking to schools, start speaking to admins, start speaking to alums, start speaking to current students in schools.
Once again, I want to thank you for accepting this interview and for sharing your knowledge, your thoughts. So basically, thank you. I don't know if you have anything to say.
No, thank you so much. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad that you're starting a community like this. It's actually communities like this that inspire people to go after their dreams. Many people find that they're in this process. Even though I know in Nigeria, many people are looking to travel out, but people are not talking about it. People do not actively talk about it. They're just doing all their plans on the G, right, in quotes. And that could be scary because you'd encounter roadblocks, you encounter challenges, and you don't know who to speak to, you don't know how to go about it, you don't know what to do to save yourself or help. So this community, something like this, is helpful for a lot of people. So keep doing the good work that you're doing.
Thank you so much, Olufisayo. And yeah, I hope someone is inspired to actually start their engagement from this interview. Thank you.